Did you know there are several methods to calculate an engagement rate? Hi, Karen here, and today I'm going to explain to you everything you need to know about Facebook engagement rate. The engagement rate is an indicator used to measure the level of engagement a content or an account receives from its audience on social media. As a result, the higher the engagement rate, the more the content appeals the target audience, increasing visibility, brand awareness, and ultimately the number of conversions. So now I'm gonna show you 5 ways of calculating your engagement rate, and then some tips on how to improve it. First, there's the engagement rate by reach, or ERR. This is the most widely used formula for calculating engagement. It measures the percentage of viewers who decide to engage with your content after viewing it. In case you don't know, reach is how many users have seen your posts in their feed. It's easy to find it on Meta Business. So the formula of the ERR is the total number of engagement on your post divided by the post's reach times 100. So for example, if 1,000 people have seen your posts and you have 90 likes and 10 comments, your engagement rate is 10%. You shouldn't rely solely on reach, because if your reach varies frequently, you'll have a disproportional engagement rate. After all, this method takes into account not only your followers, but also people who discovered you via hashtags, shares, and other channels, so it can vary. So to check whether your engagement rate is good or bad, you can compare it to your usual performance or competitors, or use the engagement rate by post for a more precise evaluation of post-by-post engagement. This is the method most influencers use to calculate their typical engagement rates. So it's comparable to ERR, but it focuses only on followers rather than reach. So the formula is the total engagement on your post divided by the number of followers times 100. You can also average your engagement rate by post, which will enable you to compare whether your engagement rate on a particular post is above or below the average. Even so, this method has its shortcomings, because it ignores the virality aspect. As your number of followers increases, your engagement rate may decrease. Hence the third method. It's the engagement rate by impressions. I know what you're going to say. Impressions, reach, isn't it the same thing? Well, it's not. Reach is the total number of people who see your content, whereas impressions is the number of times your content has been displayed, whether people clicked on it or not. So ER by impressions is the total engagement on your post divided by the number of impressions on this post multiplied by 100. This is one of the most useful ways for evaluating the effectiveness of a paid content. But you shouldn't overlook that, because it will inevitably be less accurate than other calculation methods. As for reach, impression statistics can vary, so it's best to combine this technique with reach. There's also the daily engagement rate, calculated simply as the total number of daily engagement over the total number of followers times 100. The advantage of this method is that instead of focusing on how your followers interact with your post, it allows you to determine how often they visit your account each day. So this formula takes into account engagement on new and old posts. And you can customize it too. For example, you can take into account only reactions, comments, likes, shares, and so on. However, this method should be used with caution. For example, this method doesn't differ between a follower who has interacted 10 times with your content and 10 followers who interacted 1 time with your content. What's more, the number of posts you can share can affect the number of engagement per day. So it can be interesting to compare daily engagement with the quantity of posts. And finally, we have the engagement rate by views. This is the total number of engagement on the post divided by the total number of views times 100. So it's still a very good approach to assessing engagement on a video, but single or repeated views are not separated and can therefore skew the statistics. Because even if someone watched your video 10 times, they may won't interact with your video 10 times. Now that you know all the methods, you can use them on anything traceable on Facebook, including reactions, clicks, comments, shares, and private messages. And since you know the engagement rates, it's also very important that you know the cost per engagement. This is the main method used to check the profitability of Facebook ads. It's also used to measure the profitability of an influencer when you hire them. The formula is the total amount spent over the total number of engagements. Be careful, however, to check which interactions are considered genuine engagements. Maybe you don't want to count a share as an engagement in Facebook ads. Okay, now that we know all this, at what point do you have a good engagement rate? Well, in reality, it varies depending on your sector of activity and the number of followers. However, according to Hootsuite, a good engagement rate for companies with fewer than 10,000 followers is between 4.5 and 8%, and for companies with more than 10,000 followers, a good engagement rate is between 2 and 5%. Of course, the quality and relevance of the content, the timing and frequency of posts, and the use of hashtags and captions in the description are all factors to consider. You can do many little things to improve your engagement rate. First of all, it's a basic advice, but you need to be regular and post useful and relevant content. Next, you can use attention-grabbing visuals and videos. Visuals stimulate engagement, and basically videos are the most engaging form of content on Facebook in 2023. In the same style, there's the use of emojis. Now, emojis certainly help to convey emotions and therefore make you post more conversational and can increase your engagement. But too many emojis will have the opposite effect. My advice would be to use one emoji every 3 sentences. After that, it's too much. You can also ask questions. It encourages people to engage with your content and share their thoughts and ideas. Besides, it's a double-edged sword, but a polarizing topic will always create engagement. Just be careful not to overdo it. Please stay professional and respectful. Otherwise, it's a classic, but you have humor, which is a great way to engage with your audience and increase the likelihood for them to share it to their friends. And finally, the most engaging tip for last, contests and gifts. This is a great way to increase your engagement and get people to share your post to their friends and family. It will create a real snowball effect. I want to finish the video on when to post to increase your engagement rates. So, in my opinion, what I'm about to say should be taken with a grain of salt. Because of course, studies were done and they confirm certain things, but I personally think that we all have different audience, a different domain, and that we should adapt to our audience schedule and rhythm, and not follow a general rule. Anyway, according to various studies, the best times to publish on Facebook are between Monday and Friday, midweek and midday, in particular Wednesdays and Thursdays between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. And we recommend posting before 8 a.m. or after 8 p.m. So I'd still advise you to try different posting times and monitor your Facebook engagement rates to determine what is the best time for you. Well, I think you know everything. If you liked the video, consider subscribing, it's always a pleasure. And of course, if you have any questions, I'm waiting for you in the comment section below. See you soon for more videos.